Recognizing the signs of manipulation is a crucial step in regaining control over your life and maintaining your mental and emotional well-being. Manipulation often begins subtly, making it easy to overlook or dismiss certain behaviors until they become overwhelming. People who manipulate often rely on specific tactics that can chip away at your confidence, leaving you feeling unsteady, unsure of yourself, and perhaps even reliant on the manipulator for validation or approval. Becoming aware of these tactics can empower you to see through them and protect yourself from harmful relationships. One common manipulation technique is guilt tripping, where someone makes you feel responsible for their unhappiness or problems. Manipulators who use guilt as a tool may say things like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this for me," or "I guess I can't count on you like I thought." These comments create a sense of obligation or indebtedness, making you feel as though you owe them something, even when you've done nothing wrong. They may repeatedly bring up past favors or sacrifices, positioning themselves as the victim and you as the one who should be doing more. This tactic can be especially damaging because it can lead to chronic feelings of inadequacy and a fear of disappointing others, keeping you in a cycle where you're constantly doing things to avoid feeling guilty. Another subtle but powerful tactic manipulators use is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation where the person tries to make you question your reality, memories, or perception. For example, a manipulator might say, "That never happened, you must be imagining things." Or "You're being too sensitive over time." This erodes your confidence in your own thoughts and feelings, causing you to doubt yourself and making you more susceptible to their influence. Gaslighting can be so insidious that you may begin to rely on the manipulator's version of events instead of your own, believing that they must be right and you must be mistaken. This erodes your sense of self and can leave you feeling mentally and emotionally exhausted. Flattery is another tactic that manipulators often employ, though it may not seem harmful at first. Compliments and praise are a common part of positive relationships, but manipulators often use them strategically to win your trust or to sway you into doing what they want. They may shower you with compliments, emphasizing how special you are to them or how much they value your relationship. This creates a sense of loyalty, making it harder for you to say no when they eventually ask for a favor or try to exert control over your decisions. Because the praise feels good, it can cloud your judgment and lead you to overlook other, less positive aspects of their behavior. The flattery can make it seem like they truly care about you, when in reality they are using it as a tool to get what they want. Another form of manipulation involves shifting blame or refusing to take responsibility. Manipulators often dodge accountability for their actions, finding ways to turn situations around and make them your fault. They might say things like, "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way," or "You made me do it," by placing the blame on you. They avoid taking responsibility for their own behavior, making you feel as though you're the one at fault. This tactic can be particularly confusing, as it often makes you question whether you did something wrong, which in turn keeps you in a vulnerable state where you're more willing to change your behavior to accommodate their needs. Manipulators may also isolate you from your support network, either by subtly undermining your relationships with friends and family or by making you feel guilty for spending time with others. They may say things like, "Why do you need to spend time with them when you have me?" Or "They don't really care about you as much as I do." By creating doubt in your relationships with others, manipulators make you increasingly dependent on them, which gives them more control. Isolation is a powerful tool for manipulators, as it limits your perspective and makes it harder to see through their tactics. When you are cut off from friends and family, you lose the support and insight they could provide, making it more difficult to recognize manipulation. Finally, manipulators often keep you off balance by alternating between kindness and cruelty. This is sometimes called hot and cold behavior or love bombing at times. They may be incredibly affectionate and attentive, making you feel valued and cherished. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, they withdraw or act distant, leaving you confused and eager to get back in their good graces. This roller coaster of emotions can keep you constantly striving for their approval, as you may believe you've done something wrong when they're cold toward you. This unpredictability creates a sense of dependency, as you may start to feel that only they can give you the validation or affection you need. Recognizing these behaviors for what they are can be both freeing and empowering. Manipulative tactics are often designed to bypass your natural defenses, gradually wearing down your sense of self and making you doubt your own thoughts and feelings. By becoming aware of these signs, you can start to regain control, setting boundaries that protect your well being and ensuring that your relationships are built on mutual respect rather than subtle forms of coercion. Understanding a manipulator's motivation can be a powerful tool in disarming their tactics and protecting yourself from their influence. People don't manipulate others without reason. Manipulation is often driven by underlying desires, insecurities, or needs that they may not even fully understand themselves. By looking beyond their actions and trying to see what motivates them, you can gain insight into why they act the way they do and how best to protect yourself from being drawn into their manipulative patterns. One common motivation for manipulation is a need for control. Some people have an overwhelming desire to control others and their environment, often stemming from a deep-seated fear of unpredictability or insecurity about their own lives. By controlling others, they feel a sense of stability and power, believing that they are less vulnerable to disappointment or failure. Manipulators who are driven by this need for control often resort to tactics like guilt, shame, or intimidation because these methods quickly create compliance. They might demand constant updates about your whereabouts or your activities, or they might make decisions on your behalf without consulting you. To them, control is a way to protect themselves from perceived threats or chaos, and they may justify their behavior by thinking they are helping you or saving you from your own decisions. Recognizing this can help you understand that their control has little to do with you and more to do with their own internal fears. Another motivation that often drives manipulation is the desire for validation. Some manipulators crave validation and approval to such an extent that they will go to great lengths to ensure people around them admire or look up to them. This can be especially true for people who deep down struggle with low self-esteem. They might use flattery or charm to draw people close and then subtly steer conversations or situations in ways that allow them to be the center of attention or in a position of authority. These manipulators often present themselves as experts, or they may put down others subtly to make themselves look better. The need for validation means they want to feel indispensable or irreplaceable, so they manipulate to ensure they are constantly receiving praise, admiration, or even sympathy. When you recognize that someone's manipulative behavior is rooted in a need for validation, it can become easier to disengage emotionally, realizing that their tactics are aimed at meeting their own unmet emotional needs rather than responding to anything you have done or failed to do. Some manipulators are driven by a desire for financial or material gain. For them, relationships are primarily transactional, and they view people around them as resources to be tapped. These manipulators might pressure others into lending money, buying things for them, or offering services without reciprocation. They often have little regard for boundaries when it comes to getting what they want. Their manipulation may include using sympathy to create a sense of obligation, claiming they are in financial distress, for instance, or hinting that they're in trouble, unless you help them out. In this case, manipulation is simply a means to achieve material security or personal comfort, and recognizing this can help you approach the relationship with more caution. By understanding that their aim is material gain, you can set clear financial boundaries, protect your resources, and avoid feeling guilty for not giving in to their demands. A desire for power and dominance over others can also drive manipulative behavior. Manipulators with this motivation enjoy feeling superior and often see manipulation as a way to boost their own self-worth. They may use belittling remarks, make condescending statements, or subtly compete with people around them to establish dominance. This type of manipulation can be emotionally exhausting because it creates an atmosphere of constant competition and erodes your self-confidence. The manipulator thrives on feeling above others, and their tactics are designed to keep you feeling small or insecure so that they remain in control. Understanding this motivation can allow you to recognize the attempts to undermine you for what they are a reflection of the manipulator's own insecurities about their worth or place in the world. Fear of abandonment is another powerful motivator. Some people manipulate others out of a deep-seated fear of being left alone, abandoned, or unappreciated. To them, Manipulation becomes a way to secure loyalty and prevent others from leaving, even if it means resorting to guilt tripping or creating dependency. They may act helpless, exaggerate their needs, or make others feel that they're the only one who truly understands or can save them. By making you feel indispensable, they gain a sense of security, knowing that you're less likely to walk away. Understanding that this behavior is driven by their fear of being alone can help you set boundaries that allow for healthy detachment. It's easier to disengage emotionally from their tactics when you recognize that the behavior stems from their own fears and not from a genuine need for support. Finally, for some manipulators, the motivation is simple self-interest. These individuals are often opportunistic, seeing manipulation as an efficient way to achieve personal goals, regardless of how it affects others. They may be driven by career ambition, social status, or other personal gains, and they use people as stepping stones to get where they want to be. This type of manipulation is often more calculated and less emotionally driven. These manipulators are highly strategic, assessing each situation for its potential benefit to them. Recognizing this type of behavior can allow you to make decisions that prioritize your own needs, rather than being swayed by their self-serving agendas. Understanding the motivations behind manipulation can give you valuable perspective, helping you to see through the tactics and resist being drawn into harmful dynamics. By recognizing these motives, you gain clarity on the true nature of the relationship, empowering you to make choices that protect your well-being and support your personal boundaries. Setting firm boundaries is a fundamental step in protecting yourself from manipulation and ensuring your well-being in relationships. Boundaries are the limits you establish to define what you are comfortable with and what you are willing to accept from others. They help you communicate your values, needs, and respect for yourself, while also encouraging others to treat you with respect. Boundaries are not walls, they're more like guidelines that support healthier interactions by helping you stay true to yourself. When dealing with manipulative people, establishing boundaries can be challenging, but it's essential for your mental and emotional health. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is to identify what you're comfortable with and what your limits are. This requires some introspection and awareness of your personal values and needs. It may involve asking yourself questions like, what behaviors make me feel respected? And what behaviors drain or upset me? Knowing where you stand on these issues gives you a foundation to establish specific limits. For instance, you may decide that you need personal space in your schedule and can't always respond to messages or demands immediately. This self-awareness allows you to communicate these boundaries clearly to others, ensuring that you can hold true to them, even if someone tries to push against them. Once you know your limits, it's important to communicate your boundaries assertively and confidently. When discussing boundaries, it's helpful to use I statements, such as "I need some time for myself" or "I don't feel comfortable discussing that topic." Using I statements places the focus on your feelings and needs rather than on blaming or criticizing the other person. Being clear and direct about your boundaries is key, as vague or uncertain boundaries can lead to confusion or create opportunities for manipulation. Firm communication establishes that you respect yourself and expect others to respect you as well. When people sense that you are serious and consistent in enforcing your boundaries, they are more likely to respect them. Consistency is essential when setting boundaries. It's easy to make exceptions or compromise when you feel pressured, but inconsistency can signal to manipulators that they can eventually break down your resolve. For example, if you've decided not to answer work-related calls after hours but occasionally make exceptions, this can create a gray area where people assume you'll always answer if they persist enough. Staying consistent with your boundaries sends a clear message that you're serious about your limits. The more consistently you enforce your boundaries, the more natural it becomes, and the less others will test them. It's also crucial to recognize that setting boundaries may lead to resistance, especially from people who are used to taking advantage of your time, energy, or resources. Manipulators, in particular, may react negatively when you start enforcing boundaries because it disrupts their ability to control or influence you. They might resort to guilt tripping, subtle criticism, or even outright anger to pressure you into reverting to old patterns. Remember that this resistance is not a sign that your boundaries are wrong or unnecessary. It's a reflection of the manipulator's frustration at losing control. When you anticipate this kind of pushback, it can be easier to stand your ground without feeling guilty or second-guessing your decision. Having boundaries in place also requires you to feel comfortable saying no without excessive justification. No is a complete sentence, and it's perfectly okay to decline requests or offers that do not align with your comfort zone or personal needs. Manipulators often thrive on making others feel obligated to say yes, whether through guilt or a sense of duty. Learning to say no confidently is one of the most empowering parts of setting boundaries. It allows you to reclaim control over your choices and demonstrates to others that your needs and priorities matter. You don't have to explain yourself excessively, simply saying, I'm unable to do that, or that doesn't work for me is enough. Another critical aspect of setting boundaries is prioritizing your well-being without feeling guilty. Society often teaches us to put others' needs before our own, which can lead to feelings of guilt when we establish boundaries, especially with people who are close to us. However, protecting your mental and emotional health is not selfish, it's necessary. Boundaries allow you to show up in relationships as your best self and prevent resentment from building up over time. When you establish boundaries, you are prioritizing your well-being so that you can engage in relationships from a place of strength and respect rather than obligation or resentment. Setting firm boundaries is also about being open to adjusting them as needed based on your changing needs or circumstances. Boundaries aren't set in stone, they are flexible guidelines that can evolve as you grow and as your relationships change. For instance, a boundary that was necessary in the early stages of dealing with a manipulator may soften over time if the relationship improves or becomes more respectful. However, boundaries should never be compromised out of pressure or fear. Changes should come from a place of genuine personal growth and comfort. Ultimately, setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-care. It sends a powerful message to others that you value yourself and will not allow others to diminish that. Healthy boundaries enable you to engage in relationships with authenticity and integrity, preserving your sense of self while encouraging others to treat you with the respect and dignity you deserve. For manipulators, boundaries act as a protective shield, preventing their tactics from taking hold and empowering you to remain grounded in your own values. With practice, setting boundaries becomes a natural part of your interactions, and you'll find that your relationships improve and that your sense of personal freedom grow. Trusting your intuition is a powerful way to protect yourself from manipulation and to make choices that align with your true self. Intuition, often described as a gut feeling or an inner knowing, is a combination of your accumulated experiences, subconscious observations, and emotional insights. While logic and reason play important roles in decision-making, intuition can offer valuable guidance, particularly in relationships where manipulation may be present. Learning to recognize, trust, and act on your intuition is essential in safeguarding your well-being and remaining true to yourself. Many people dismiss their intuition, often because they feel pressured to prioritize external opinions or social expectations over their inner voice. In situations where someone is attempting to manipulate you, this dismissal of intuition can make you more vulnerable. Manipulators often use tactics that make you question your own reality, such as gaslighting or guilt tripping. These tactics are designed to create doubt, making it difficult to distinguish between what you feel intuitively and what the manipulator wants you to believe. However, your intuition often senses when something is off long before your rational mind catches up. You may feel uneasy, anxious, or have a sense that something doesn't align, even if you can't immediately pinpoint why. Recognizing these feelings as your intuition speaking is the first step in regaining control over your perception and decision-making. One of the reasons intuition is so powerful is that it bypasses the conscious analytical part of your mind, tapping directly into subconscious observations that you may not be fully aware of. For example, you might pick up on subtle cues such as body language, tone of voice, or patterns of behavior that tell you something isn't right. These cues are processed at a subconscious level, forming a gut feeling that serves as a warning. Trusting these feelings doesn't mean ignoring logic or evidence. Rather, it means acknowledging your intuition as a valuable part of the decision-making process. When you feel that something is wrong, even without concrete proof, it's worth taking a closer look. Pausing to reflect on why you feel this way can help you make more informed choices. To strengthen your connection with your intuition, it's important to make time for self-reflection. Life can be fast-paced, and when you're constantly busy, it's easy to lose touch with your inner voice. Practices like journaling, meditation, or spending quiet time alone can help you reconnect with your intuition. These practices allow you to tune into your feelings without external influences, giving your intuition a chance to surface. As you spend time reflecting on your experiences and feelings, you become more familiar with your inner voice, making it easier to recognize when it speaks up in situations involving others. Over time, you'll find that trusting your intuition feels more natural and that you're more capable of discerning manipulative behaviors. Boundaries play an essential role in trusting your intuition. Often, when your intuition alerts you to manipulation or harmful behavior, it's prompting you to set a boundary. For instance, if you feel uncomfortable with someone's persistent requests or pressure, your intuition may be indicating that it's time to say no or to distance yourself. Acknowledging and respecting these intuitive boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-protection. When you ignore or downplay these feelings, you can end up in situations that undermine your emotional well-being, and manipulators may take advantage of your hesitation. By recognizing your intuition as a boundary-setting tool, you can respond to situations proactively rather than reactively, empowering yourself to act in ways that support your mental and emotional health. Another benefit of trusting your intuition is that it builds self-confidence. Manipulation often works by undermining your sense of self and making you doubt your judgment. Each time you listen to your intuition and act on it, you're reinforcing your belief in yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who can make sound decisions even in challenging situations. This self-confidence can serve as a shield against manipulation, as manipulators typically target those they perceive as uncertain or easily swayed. With a strong connection to your intuition, you're less likely to be influenced by others' agendas and more likely to make choices that align with your authentic self. Listening to your intuition can also improve your relationships by helping you discern who truly has your best interests at heart. Often, manipulators are skilled at creating a facade of in-source worthiness or concern. They may say all the right things, but your intuition may still pick up on inconsistencies or insincerity. Paying attention to these feelings allows you to question their actions and motivations before fully investing in the relationship. Conversely, your intuition can also guide you toward people who genuinely support and respect you. When you're attuned to your inner voice, you're more capable of forming meaningful connections based on mutual respect and authenticity. It's important to remember that trusting your intuition doesn't mean ignoring other perspectives or facts. Rather, it's about balancing logic with your inner guidance. In situations where you're unsure, you can use your intuition as a compass to help you navigate complex or ambiguous circumstances. For example, if you feel uncomfortable around someone but can't identify a clear reason, you might choose to maintain some distance while observing their actions further. This approach allows you to respect your intuitive feelings while remaining open to additional information. In the end, trusting your intuition is about honoring your own experiences, feelings, and insights. Manipulative people often attempt to cloud your perception, making you doubt yourself. But your intuition, when trusted, becomes a powerful tool for cutting through these influences. It grounds you in your truth and helps you maintain clarity, even when others try to steer you off course. Embracing your intuition not only protects you from potential manipulation, but also strengthens your sense of self, enabling you to lead a more authentic and empowered life. Staying true to your values is one of the most powerful ways to resist manipulation and maintain a strong sense of self in any situation. Your values are the principles and beliefs that guide your actions and decisions. They reflect what is most important to you, like honesty, kindness, fairness, or independence. When you stay connected to your values, you create a clear roadmap for your choices, one that keeps you grounded and focused on what truly matters to you. By knowing your values and living by them, you create a strong internal foundation that's hard for others to shake, even when they try to manipulate you. Manipulative people often look for weaknesses or insecurities to exploit, but a person rooted in their values is more resilient to these tactics. For instance, if you value honesty, you are more likely to see through deceptive behaviors and recognize when someone is not being truthful with you. This value can help you identify manipulation because you naturally seek and prioritize transparency. Similarly, if you value respect, you'll be more sensitive to situations where someone's behavior crosses your personal boundaries or disregards your feelings. Knowing your values equips you with a framework for recognizing manipulation and gives you the strength to reject behaviors that conflict with what you stand for. To stay true to your values, it's essential to identify and define them. This process requires self-reflection, where you ask yourself questions like, what qualities do I admire in others, or what beliefs would I never want to compromise on, no matter the circumstances? Reflecting on past experiences can also be helpful, particularly moments when you felt proud of your decisions or actions. Often, these moments align closely with your values. Once you've identified your core values, write them down or keep a list in a place where you can see it regularly. Visual reminders can help reinforce your commitment to living by these principles, especially in times of pressure or challenge. Living in alignment with your values requires consistency and courage, as it often means making choices that are not always easy. Manipulators may try to pressure or persuade you to act against your values, hoping that they can sway you by appealing to emotions like guilt, fear, or obligation. For example, if you value independence, but someone is trying to control your decisions or make you feel dependent on them, they may attempt to make you doubt your own ability to function independently. By staying firm in your value of independence, you can resist their influence and confidently make choices that reflect your commitment to self-reliance. Staying true to your values also means that you are less likely to feel regret or guilt when you make decisions. Manipulative people often rely on guilt as a tool to make you question your choices or to pressure you into doing things you'd rather not do. However, when you know that your actions align with your values, you are more confident in those choices and less susceptible to feeling guilty. For instance, if you value honesty and decide to confront someone about their manipulative behavior, you can feel secure in your decision, knowing that you are acting in line with your principles. This sense of alignment provides clarity and confidence, making you less vulnerable to second-guessing yourself under external pressure. In addition to protecting you from manipulation, staying true to your values strengthens your self-esteem and builds resilience. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your values, you affirm your own worth and integrity. You create a pattern of self-respect which enhances your self-esteem over time. Manipulative people tend to prey on those with low self-confidence, as they see them as easier to control. By consistently honoring your values, you reinforce a positive self-image, making you less susceptible to doubt and more likely to resist manipulative tactics. Another key aspect of living by your values is that it helps you attract and nurture healthier relationships. When you are clear about your values, you naturally gravitate toward people who share similar beliefs or who respect your principles. Conversely, those who don't respect your values are more likely to distance themselves when they realize that you won't compromise on what's important to you. By staying true to yourself, you create an environment where only those who align with your values or respect them are welcome. This supports healthier, more supportive relationships, free from the manipulation and power struggles that can often arise when values are misaligned. Staying true to your values is also a reminder that you have agency over your life. Manipulators seek to control or influence others to meet their own needs, often disregarding the values and desires of those they target. When you are committed to your values, you send a clear message that you are the one in control of your choices and that you won't allow others to dictate your actions. This sense of empowerment is not only a deterrent to manipulation, but also an essential part of personal freedom and autonomy. It gives you the courage to stand firm, even when others may try to sway you. Ultimately, staying true to your values is about honoring who you are. It's a way of showing respect for yourself and for the things that make you unique. Manipulative people may try to challenge your beliefs, but by remaining rooted in your values, you reinforce a strong, authentic identity. This clarity about who you are and what you stand for provides stability and strength, even in difficult situations. It allows you to navigate relationships and challenges with confidence, protecting your well-being and preserving your inner peace. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is a powerful way to build resilience against manipulation and cultivate a life of growth, encouragement, and mutual respect. The people in your life have a profound impact on your mindset, decisions, and emotional well-being. When you surround yourself with positive, supportive individuals, you create an environment that nurtures your strengths and reinforces your values. Positive influences encourage you to be your authentic self, reminding you of your worth, helping you stay grounded. and empowering you to make choices that serve your best interests. This kind of environment can act as a buffer against the draining effects of manipulation, giving you the energy and clarity to recognize and resist it. The first step to building a positive support network is identifying who in your life genuinely uplifts you. Positive influences are those who celebrate your achievements, provide constructive feedback without criticism, and encourage your personal growth. They respect your boundaries, listen to you with empathy, and support you without judgment. These are the people who leave you feeling energized, valued, and understood after spending time together. Take note of the friends, family members, or mentors who exhibit these qualities, as they can serve as a foundation of support in your life. A positive influence isn't just about making you feel good in the moment, it's about having people around you who hold you accountable to your values and aspirations. True friends and mentors encourage you to make decisions that align with who you want to become. When you're tempted to stray from your goals or values, they remind you of what you're capable of and what's truly important to you. This kind of support keeps you anchored in your principles, even when external pressures or manipulators try to sway you. When surrounded by people who reinforce your values, you're less likely to fall into situations where you're manipulated or made to feel inferior. In contrast, toxic or manipulative influences can subtly drain your self-confidence and cloud your judgment. These individuals may display behaviors like criticism disguised as advice, passive-aggressive comments, or actions that make you doubt your worth. While they may not always appear overtly harmful, their influence can erode your self-esteem and make you more susceptible to manipulation. Surrounding yourself with positive influences requires the courage to distance yourself from those who consistently bring negativity into your life. This doesn't mean cutting ties with everyone who disagrees with you, but rather setting boundaries with people whose actions undermine your well-being. Building a positive network also involves seeking out people who inspire you. Look for individuals who are kind, driven, empathetic, and resilient. These are people who have qualities you admire and who motivate you to be your best self. Spending time around such individuals can inspire you to develop similar qualities in yourself. You might find these positive influences through friendships, professional networks, or social groups that align with your interests and values. When you're around people who embody the traits you aspire to have, their influence can naturally encourage you to grow in ways that are true to who you are. Another important aspect of surrounding yourself with positive influences is reciprocity. Positive relationships are built on a foundation of mutual support and encouragement, rather than one-sided demands or expectations. When you're part of a network that values reciprocity, you're less likely to feel taken advantage of or manipulated. In these relationships, you give and receive support, creating a balanced dynamic that enriches both parties. Manipulative relationships, on the other hand, often revolve around control and one-sided benefit. By surrounding yourself with people who value balance and mutual respect, you protect yourself from the imbalance of manipulative dynamics. To cultivate positivity in your circle, it's also essential to communicate openly and authentically. When you express your true thoughts and feelings with trusted people, you foster an environment of honesty and mutual respect. Positive influences will welcome your honesty and be open to your perspective, even if it differs from their own. This creates a safe space where you can share openly without fear of judgment or manipulation. Authentic communication strengthens relationships, builds trust, and increases your confidence, making you less susceptible to outside influence. Positive influences also provide crucial support during challenging times when you may be most vulnerable to manipulation. During periods of stress, self-doubt, or transition, manipulators may see an opportunity to take advantage of your weakened emotional state. However, when you're surrounded by supportive individuals, you have people to lean on who genuinely want to see you succeed and thrive. They offer reassurance, guidance, and a sense of stability when you need it most, helping you stay focused on your values and goals rather than succumbing to outside pressure. Surrounding yourself with positive influences extends beyond individual relationships. You can also seek out positive environments that align with your values, such as community groups, clubs, or organizations dedicated to causes you care about. These spaces attract like-minded individuals and create a culture of encouragement and shared purpose. Being part of a community that aligns with your beliefs reinforces your commitment to your values and provides a wider network of support. Positive environments foster growth and allow you to build connections with people who are also invested in mutual respect and well-being. In the end, surrounding yourself with positive influences is a way to invest in your own happiness and resilience. When you actively choose to be around people who uplift and support you, you build a life that reflects your values and nurtures your potential. This network acts as a safeguard against manipulation as you are continually reminded of your worth, your strength, and your ability to choose relationships that serve your best interests. Positive influences empower you to stay true to yourself, resist manipulation, and build a life filled with authenticity, encouragement, and respect.